Hello students. Today I'd like to deal on deadlocks chapter. Myself Sumanda Biradar. These are the different topics which I am going to cover here. System model, deadlock characterization, methods for handling deadlocks, deadlocks prevention, avoidance, detection and recovery from the deadlock mainly. These are the objectives. What is a deadlock? First that we'll see here. It is a set of blocked processes, each holding a resource and waiting to acquire another resource held by another process in the system. The system is blocked totally, where it is processing none of the processes. Each process is waiting for another process to release the resource, so that's why it is not able to continue. One of the example is particular system has two tape drives, P0 and P1. Each one is holding one such tape drive, and they actually require two tape drives to complete their task. So each one of them is waiting for the other to release. So none of them are able to continue. So this is what an example of blocked process is. This we can generally show with the help of a bridge crossing example. You can just look at this diagram, which is showing traffic over a narrow bridge where the traffic is possible only to move the vehicles in only one direction. Each section of a bridge can be viewed as a one particular resource. If a deadlock occurs, it can be resolved if one car backs or preempts the resource and roll back. That is, it's holding it has to release the resource which it has holding right now. Several cars sometime it may require, if there is a large queue one behind another, several cars have to go back and leave the place to go for the other vehicle in the other direction. So it leads to something called as a starvation. In case of system, it consists of a number of resources. Each resource type is indicated by different symbols here, R1, R2, M number of resources. So the resources can be a CPU cycle, memory space or IO device. Each resource type Ri can have number of instances. For example, IO device, say there are two keyboards attached, there may be multiple tape drives attached to a system. So in the sense it has two instances. Each process utilizes a resource by means of these set of operations, like it requests, makes use of those resources and releases in turn. So deadlock is characterized by four main features. This is one of the important part of this deadlock. Deadlock characteristics, or which are the four conditions when they hold simultaneously that lead to a deadlock. So those four characteristics are mutual exclusion, hold and wait, no preemption, and circular wait. Let us see one by one. What is mutual exclusion? Only one process at a time can use a resource. It is not allowing any other process to use that resource. Hold and wait, that is, a process is holding at least one resource and is waiting to acquire an additional resource which is held by some other processes. So it is holding one and waiting for the other resource that has to be released by some other process. Then no preemption is another characteristic. The meaning of that is a resource can be released only voluntarily by that process after that process has completed its task. It is not releasing in between. It is not preempting it in between before completion at its task. Then circular wait. This can be explained with one particular example. Let us take a set of processes P0 to Pn, such that P0 is waiting for one resource that is held by P1, P1 is waiting for a resource that is held by P2, and so on. Finally, Pn minus 1 process is waiting for a resource that is held by P1, Pn, and Pn is waiting for a resource that is held by P0. So you can just observe that each process is waiting for its next process to release a resource. So there is a circular wait. Each one is waiting for the other to release the resource. So if these conditions hold simultaneously, all the four, that leads to a deadlock. So this is indicated with one of the data structure that we call as a resource allocation graph, which is indicated with a set of vertices V and set of edges E. So we are partitioning into two types, that is P, the set consisting of all the processes in the system, and the set consisting of all the resources in the system. Then we are using two types of edges here, that are directed edges. Both of them are directed edge. One is request edge from the process to a resource, assignment edge, that is from the resource to a process. If it has been allocated to that particular process, then we are plotting one edge, directed edge from the resource to the process. So process is indicated with a filled circle like this, and resource type with multiple instances is shown like this. A request edge from a process to a resource, and this is showing assignment edge, that is this particular resource Rj is assigned to, one instance of Rj is assigned to the process Pi. So this is example of a resource allocation graph. This indicates that we have four resources here, R1, R2, R3 and R4, three processes P1, P2 and P3, and P1 is requesting for the resource R1, and whereas the resource R1 is assigned to P2, and P2 is requesting for R3, and R3 is assigned to P3. Right now P2 is holding one resource R1 and waiting for the other resource R3 to be released by P3, because they are all they both R1 and R2 are having a single instance of the resource, whereas R2 is having multiple instance. One instance is allocated to P1, the other one is allocated to P2, and we have another resource R4 which is available with three instances, but none of them are acquired by any other processes, and none of the processes waiting for it. See, this is the resource allocation graph which is showing a deadlock. Here I can show you mutual exclusion, right? Mutual exclusion in the sense, even though it is having multiple instances in this, it is not able to share the single instance. As R1 and R2 are already single instance, they are not shareable, right? So mutual exclusion. Hold and wait, each process P1 is holding one particular resource, right, that it is holding one resource, that is R2, and it is requesting for another resource. This is what we call as a hold and hold, holding one and waiting for the other resource which is held by some other process. Similarly, P2 is holding R1 and waiting for a resource R3 which is held by P3, right? So there is also a circular wait you can observe here. This cycle, P1 is holding R1 and it is waiting for the resource which is held by P2, and P2 is waiting for the resource which is held by some other process. So here you can see the cycle, right? This also you can see P2 is holding R3, R3 is assigned to P3, P3 is holding R2, whereas R2 is requested by R2 is assigned to P3 is requesting R2, whereas R2 is assigned to P2. So these two are waiting for each other to release the resource. So this will lead to a circular wait, and thus this particular graph is giving an example of a deadlock example. So there is a possibility whenever there is a graph with a cycle, there can be a deadlock, but it is not always true. You can just observe this. This graph is having a cycle, but there is no deadlock, isn't it? So you can just observe there are multiple instances. P1 is holding R2 and requesting for R1, and R1 is assigned to P2. That's why here it is not in cycle. P2 is able to continue. P2 is not requesting anything, whereas even though there is a cycle here, P2 once it can complete, then it can release the resource to P3 and that can be used further. So this is how we can use a graph, resource allocation graph, to check out whether there is a deadlock or not. But having a cycle does not mean all the time that there is a possibility of deadlock. So yeah, this is what it shows. If graph contains no cycle, no deadlock at all. But if a graph contains a cycle, if only one instance per resource type, then deadlock possible. It is not true in case of several instances per resource type are present. So we'll see how to handle the deadlock in the next class.